Welcome to Morning Combos with Ali Sheen.
Welcome to Morning Convos. I'm your host, Ali Sheen, and on today's episode of Morning Convos, I will answer the question, why we must be vigilant against leftism. But first, let's get to the top news stories. Hillary Clinton bashed Donald Trump Sunday, calling the president a corrupt human tornado after a week of negative media attention surrounding revelations of a July phone call he had with the Ukrainian president. While promoting the book of Gutsy Women, which she wrote with her daughter Chelsea Clinton, Hillary, who often laments that she won the popular vote in 2016, called Trump an illegitimate president. So the woman who so evil the devil himself had to distance himself from her has the audacity to speak on any person's corruption. She's upset that the powerful political machine she had behind her was defeated expertly by Donald Trump. Her hopes of cashing in billions more in foreign money through the Clinton Foundation went up in smoke with Trump's victory. In another story making headlines, a New York City police officer was fatally shot Sunday in the Bronx during a struggle with an armed assailant, police said. Police Chief Terrence Monahan said officers had approached a man for questioning, and when the man fled on foot, the officers pursued. A violent struggle on the ground began, Monahan said. On the body-worn camera, Officer Mulkeen can be heard yelling, "He's reaching for it, he's reaching for it." Shots rang out, and Monahan said Mulkeen was struck 3 times, possibly by his own gun. 5 officers opened fire, and the suspect was killed at the scene. Mulkeen was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. My thoughts and prayers goes out to the family and friends. This is a story that is not heard a lot on the news. We are often fed countless stories of police killing unarmed blacks, but we never hear the stories told in reverse with as much frequency. It's so rare, we probably remember them all. But the truth is, more police are killed by blacks than vice versa. This is a fact that the left tries to hide because it dispels their racism myth as well as their police brutality narrative. And the final story today is the Democrats are still moving forward with their publicity stunt, aka the impeachment inquiry. I was going to go on a mini rant, but I'm not. I'm not going to even give this any more life. This is a dead issue to me. I'll just say to the Democrats, we will see what happens in November 2020. Because Trump won't get impeached. And that's it for today's news of the day. There was a tweet I read that really got under my skin. The tweet said, and I quote, "Genitalia preference is not a sexuality. It's just violent and trans misogyny / trans antagonism, and it's so sad to see non-binary people engage in that logic." Here's another on that thread. In truth, if you exclude trans women, you are not a lesbian. If you are only capable of loving and appreciating the bodies and existence of cis women while violently rejecting the women who threaten the binary that privileges you, you do not love women, you love cisness. Here's yet another one. A genitalia preference is rooted in biological essentialism. 100%. There is no origin for it. And trans politics aside, a genital preference in itself is just as disturbing thing to prescribe to base your attraction to specifically based on your partner's genital is fucking weird. And still, another one on this thread. Y'all annoy me. Genital preference is not okay. It only enforces the genitals that genitals equals gender belief. If you're gay and only want to fuck people with penises, unpack that. If you're a lesbian and you only want to fuck people with vaginas, unpack that. My head hurts from reading this nonsense. And I fear this is only the beginning. The beginning of our fast ride down the slippery slope of political correctness. In today's leftist reality, everything is offensive. This argument by trans activists is not based on their community being maligned for existing or being discriminated in any way, shape, or form. They have the right to exist, which everybody, I agree with through, and most people agree to. However, they do not have the right to tell me or anyone else how we should love or what criteria we should use to be attracted as attraction to those people. They say genitalia, but what they really mean is gender. In the real world, with the exception of hermaphrodites, males have a penis, females have a vagina. In the world according to leftists, gender is not based on genitalia or chromosomes, but by the feelings of the individual. This is why they want to attack heterosexuality and homosexuality, because based on gender preferences, because they are based on because they want to dispel that attractions are based on genders. Isn't it ironic the trans community that has fought for years for acceptance and their rights as citizens, and now when society is the most accepting it has ever been towards them, wants to demonize others for their sexual preferences? It's ironic, it's sad, it's hypocritical, and extremely discriminatory. To call these activists out for the hate they're spewing, I will be called transphobic, misogynist, or whatever they can come up with to malign my character. They don't want to be confronted for their nonsense. They want their opinions to be treated as fact, and that's why that's one of my biggest pet peeves. And the question I have for you is, where does it stop? Are we allowing people feelings to dictate our domestic policies? If you look at California, where a county ban was used on singular pronouns was banned, in their city council, all the city councilors had to use the plural pronoun so to avoid misgendering someone. That's crazy. And then think about New York. It's now illegal to call someone an illegal alien, even though our own U.S. legal code says that that's what they are referred to. Saying undocumented worker is some new leftist talking point used to make illegal aliens more sympathetic to Americans. I'm tired of the government telling me how to act in my personal life, in which I'm not harming anyone physically. I can't help what a person may feel about anything I say or do, but my right to do it is undeniable. Like I said, where does it stop? What if gay people all of a sudden say, you know what, I don't like heterosexual public displays of affection. It's a weird social construct advanced by the patriarchal system y'all set up, and I think it should be banned. Or why stop there? Let's go full crazy. Let's say homeless people feel that living on the street is society's fault, and that people like us that have a place to stay, we are flaunting our privilege in their faces and disrespecting them by walking on the streets that they call home. Both scenarios are outrageously ridiculous, but in today's liberal world, it's very possible that someone will advocate it for it at some point in time. We don't have to accommodate the ridiculous whims of progressives. Sometimes you have to let people have hurt feelings. Why should I be inconvenient because of another person's feelings? And we're not talking about blatant discrimination or discrimination of any kind, because I will stand up for that. I understand that. I can respect that. We're talking about a small segment of people, of the population, trying to force the majority into bending to their will. Leftism has a symbiotic relationship with class conflict. Leftism is the parasite that feeds the class struggle. Progressives and social justice warriors love pitting opposing forces against one another. And the left's favorite thing to use is members of marginalized groups to be the face of their propaganda. Because most don't want to come out against them or come out against whatever they're peddling out of fear of being called something that ends in a phobe or is. The left opposes independent, morally strong, educated people because those individuals, especially groups, can't be easily manipulated. To end this, I'll quote Gore Vidal. As for civil liberties, anyone who is not vigilant may one day find himself living, if not in a police state, at least in a police city. I'm out of time for this episode of Morning Convos. I'm your host, Ali Sheen. Subscribe to this podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Radio Public, and anywhere else podcasts are found. Like my page on Facebook, Ali Sheen's Playground. Follow me on Instagram at Ali Sheen's _playground_, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Ali Sheen's Playground. Let me know your opinion on this episode. Till next time, enjoy your day.